The dimensional crack pulsed with violent energy as Vegeta forced his way through the tear in reality. His rage was so intense that it manifested as visible flames around his body, and his power signature alone caused tremors across multiple universes. Kakarot! Vegeta roared as he landed in the DemonSlayer world, his boots cracking the ground beneath him. What have you done? Your energy signature is shaking the foundations of existence itself. Goku scratched the back of his head sheepishly, still coming down from his Ultra Instinct high. Hey Vegeta, I told you, I found someone really strong. Vegeta's eyes locked onto Saitama, who was calmly picking up his grocery bags and checking to make sure his vegetables hadn't been damaged by the universe-shaking battle. This bald human? Vegeta scoffed, his voice dripping with royal disdain. This is what caused you to push Ultra Instinct to its limits? Kakarot, have you completely lost your mind? Saitama looked up from his groceries with mild annoyance. Another angry space monkey? Do all people from your universe communicate by yelling? The insult hit Vegeta like a physical slap. His eye twitched as he processed being casually dismissed by someone who looked like he'd struggled to open a pickle jar. What did you just call me? Vegeta growled, his aura beginning to flare with murderous intent. I said you seem angry, Saitama repeated calmly and loud. Very, very loud. It's kind of inconsiderate, actually. There are people trying to sleep in the nearby villages. Goku burst out laughing, which only made Vegeta's rage burn hotter. Kakarot, stop laughing! Vegeta snapped. This human just insulted the Prince of All Saiyans! No one speaks to royalty like that and lives! Saitama tilted his head slightly. Prince of what now? Is that like being the mayor of Angry Town? The second insult nearly sent Vegeta into an apoplectic rage. His power level began climbing rapidly as his pride demanded satisfaction. Vegeta's aura exploded outward, transforming immediately into Super Saiyan Blue without bothering with the intermediate forms. His divine energy crackled around him like blue lightning as he settled into his combat stance. Human, Vegeta said, his voice deadly calm in the way that preceded absolute violence. You have insulted Saiyan royalty. There is only one way this can end. Saitama set his grocery bags down carefully, making sure the eggs wouldn't break. Let me guess. You want to fight me because your feelings got hurt? My feelings? Vegeta's eye twitched again. I am the Prince of All Saiyans. I don't have feelings about inferior beings. This is about respect, about power, about proving that no human, no matter how strong, can stand against Saiyan elite. Goku tried to intervene. Vegeta, maybe you should reconsider. This guy is really, really strong, like stronger than anyone we've ever fought. Impossible, Vegeta snorted. I am the legendary Super Saiyan. My power is unmatched. If you couldn't defeat him, it's because you held back out of misguided mercy. Saitama looked between the two Saiyans with growing understanding. Oh, I get it. You're upset because your friend had a good fight without you. That's actually kind of sweet in a psychotic way. Sweet? Vegeta nearly exploded with rage. I am not sweet. I am the Prince of Destruction, the apex of evolution, the perfect warrior. Sure you are, Saitama said in the same tone someone might use to humor a child throwing a tantrum. Do you want me to fight you so you can feel better about yourself? The casual dismissal was the final straw. Vegeta's pride, the driving force of his entire existence, couldn't tolerate being treated like an emotional toddler. That's it, Vegeta declared. I'm going to show you exactly why they call me the Prince of All Saiyans. What happened next surprised even Goku. Instead of attacking immediately, Vegeta began to push his power even further beyond Super Saiyan Blue. You want to see real Saiyan pride? Vegeta snarled, his blue aura beginning to shift and change. Then witness the power of evolution itself. His energy signature began climbing to levels that made his previous transformations look like warm-up exercises. This wasn't just another power-up. This was Vegeta accessing something fundamental about what it meant to be Saiyan. Ultra Ego, Vegeta announced as his aura shifted from blue to a destructive purple. The power of the god of destruction combined with Saiyan pride. The more you damage me, the stronger I become. Saitama looked at the transformation with genuine interest. This was different from Goku's Ultra Instinct, where Goku's form was about perfect defense and movement. Vegeta's was about embracing destruction and using damage as fuel for greater power. That's new, Saitama admitted. Your friend went for perfect defense. You're going for controlled berserker rage. Interesting choice. Don't compare me to Kakarot. Vegeta roared, launching forward with speed that surpassed ease in his blue form. I am unique. I am the prince. And I will prove it by being the first to truly challenge you. His first punch connected with Saitama's jaw, carrying the destructive force of a collapsing galaxy. The impact created a shockwave that flattened mountains and carved new valleys into the landscape. Saitama's head moved back a full centimeter. Now that, Saitama said with something approaching approval, had some real force behind it. Vegeta's eyes widened in shock, but also something else. Excitement. For the first time since achieving Ultra Ego, he'd found someone who could not only survive his attacks, but actually register them. You felt that, Vegeta said, his voice filled with savage satisfaction. Good, then you'll feel this even more. What followed was the most intense barrage of attacks Vegeta had ever unleashed. Unlike Goku's technical precision, Vegeta fought with pure, overwhelming aggression. Each punch was delivered with the intent to destroy. Each kick carried the force of a dying star. And true to Ultra Ego's nature, every hit that Saitama landed in return only made Vegeta stronger. The Saiyan Prince's power continued to climb as he embraced the damage, feeding off the destruction to reach even greater heights. This is incredible, Vegeta laughed, his voice carrying a manic edge as he absorbed another of Saitama's casual punches. Do you understand what you've done, human? You've given me exactly what I needed to surpass Kakarot. Saitama tilted his head. Is this some kind of weird Saiyan therapy? Fighting to work through your emotional issues? Emotional issues? Vegeta's aura flared even brighter. This isn't about emotions. This is about evolution, about proving that the Prince of All Saiyans stands above all others. But even as he spoke, Vegeta was learning the same lesson Goku had discovered. No matter how much his power grew, no matter how perfectly he executed his techniques, Saitama remained fundamentally unmovable. After 10 minutes of the most intense combat of his life, Vegeta found himself in the same position as Goku, breathing hard, pushed to his absolute limits, and facing an opponent who looked like he was still warming up. Impossible, Vegeta gasped, his Ultra Ego form flickering slightly from exhaustion. I've surpassed every limit I've ever known. I've achieved power that rivals the gods themselves. How are you still standing there like nothing happened? Saitama looked at his slightly torn glove with mild interest. You actually managed to scuff my glove. That's more than most people accomplish. For the first time in his life, Vegeta found himself genuinely speechless. Not from rage, not from pride, but from the dawning realization that he was facing something that existed beyond the concept of limits themselves. What are you? Vegeta asked quietly, his usual arrogance replaced by genuine curiosity. Saitama shrugged. Just a guy who's a hero for fun. I trained really hard for 3 years, went bald, and now I can beat anyone with one punch. It's kind of boring, actually. Boring? Vegeta repeated incredulously. You possess power that transcends gods, and you call it boring? Well, yeah, Saitama replied. When you can solve every problem with one punch, problems stop being challenging. Fights end before they begin. Victories feel empty because they were never in doubt. Vegeta stared at him, beginning to understand something that had never occurred to him before. He'd spent his entire life chasing greater power, believing that strength was the answer to everything. But here was someone who had achieved ultimate strength, and instead of satisfaction, he'd found emptiness. You're saying that infinite power brings infinite loneliness, Vegeta said slowly. Something like that, Saitama confirmed. Though you and your friend are the first people who've made fighting feel interesting again, so thanks for that. Goku stepped forward, having watched the entire exchange with growing understanding. Maybe that's why we found each other. All three of us have been looking for something we couldn't find in our own worlds. Vegeta powered down from Ultra Ego, his purple aura fading as he considered this. For someone who had defined himself entirely through combat and the pursuit of strength, the idea that ultimate power could be a curse was revolutionary. Then what do we do? Vegeta asked. If strength isn't the answer, what is? Before anyone could answer Vegeta's existential question, the sky began to crack again. But these weren't the reality fractures caused by their battle. These were deliberate tears, created by someone with the power to manipulate dimensions at will. Through the largest crack stepped a figure that made all three fighters tense up instinctively. Tall, imposing, with an aura of authority that seemed to bend reality around him. Magnificent, the newcomer said, his voice carrying the weight of absolute power. Three beings who have transcended the normal limits of their respective universes, brought together by the chaos of multiversal warfare. Goku's expression grew serious. Who are you? The figure smiled, and in that smile was the promise of destruction on a scale that dwarfed anything they had witnessed. I am the one who has been watching your little games with great interest, he replied. My name is irrelevant. What matters is what I represent. I am the end of the multiverse as you know it. Saitama looked at this new arrival with the same mild interest he'd shown the grocery store vegetables. Another cosmic-level threat? Let me guess you want to destroy everything because you're bored too? Bored? The entity laughed, and the sound caused galaxies to tremble. No, my dear warrior, I want to destroy everything because chaos is beautiful, and you three have created the most beautiful chaos I've ever witnessed. Vegeta stepped forward, his pride reasserting itself in the face of a new challenge. If you think we're going to let you destroy anything, you're mistaken. Let me? The entity's smile widened. You must understand, I'm not here to ask permission. I'm here to offer you a choice. Join me in reshaping reality itself, or watch as I erase every universe you've ever cared about. For the first time since their battles began, all three warriors found themselves on the same side. Goku's protective instincts, Vegeta's pride, and Saitama's heroic nature all aligned against this common threat. Yeah, that's not happening, Saitama said, finally showing genuine emotion for the first time in the fight. Not boredom, not mild interest, but actual anger. The entity's laugh echoed across dimensions as he realized what he was facing. Not just three powerful individuals, but three warriors who had found something worth fighting for together. Excellent, he said, his form beginning to shift and change into something that hurt to look at directly. Then let me show you what real power looks like. What emerged from his transformation was beyond description. Not because it was too complex to understand, but because it existed outside the normal rules that governed reality. This wasn't a being with great power. This was power itself, given form and malevolent intelligence. This is the void, the entity announced, his voice now coming from everywhere and nowhere at once. The space between possibilities, the ending that exists before the beginning, and I am its avatar. The three warriors looked at each other, and in that moment an understanding passed between them that transcended words. They had found their true purpose, not in defeating each other, but in standing together against something that threatened everything they had ever cared about. So, Goku said, settling into his fighting stance, "We do this together?" Together, Vegeta agreed, his pride finding new meaning in partnership rather than dominance. Together, Saitama confirmed, and for the first time in any timeline, his voice carried genuine judgment. The entity that called itself the Void watched this display of unity with something approaching respect. How touching, it said. Three warriors who have transcended their individual limitations, now choosing to transcend their differences as well. This will make their defeat all the more poetic. As the three fighters prepared to face their greatest challenge, the very fabric of reality began to shift around them. Other universes started bleeding through, drawn by the massive concentration of power. From one crack emerged familiar figures, Naruto and Sasuke, their rivalry temporarily forgotten in the face of multiversal chaos. From another, Ichigo and Aizen, their eternal conflict caused by the recognition of a greater threat. Even more impossibly, heroes and villains from countless anime worlds began appearing, all drawn by the same instinct that had brought Goku and Vegeta to this place, the understanding that something fundamental was at stake. The Void observed this gathering with satisfaction. Perfect! Every universe's greatest warriors assembled in one place. When I destroy you all simultaneously, the cascade effect will unravel every reality that has ever existed. Saitama looked around at the assembled fighters, then back at the cosmic entity threatening everything. For the first time since breaking his limiter, he felt something he'd thought was lost forever. Purpose. You know, he said to Goku and Vegeta, I think I'm starting to remember why I wanted to be a hero in the first place. Because someone has to stand up to things like this? Goku suggested. Because the innocent deserve protection? Vegeta added, surprising himself with the sentiment. Because, Saitama said, his fist beginning to glow with power that made their previous battles look like warm-up exercises. Some fights are worth having, even if you know you're gonna win. The Void's form pulsed with anticipation. Then come, heroes of 1,000 worlds. Show me what your combined might can accomplish against the end of everything. As the greatest battle in multiversal history prepared to begin, one truth became clear to every warrior present. This wasn't just a fight for survival anymore. This was a fight for the right of existence itself to continue, and for the first time in any timeline, Saitama was genuinely excited to see how it would end. Subscribe and hit the notification bell to witness the ultimate multiversal battle. Part 4 will feature every anime's greatest warriors united against the end of everything itself.